Hello Internet and welcome to another video on the PCGamesN YouTube channel. Ben here, joined by Richard Scott Jones, and everybody knows what that means. It's time for some Destiny 2 stuff. You, Rich, have played it on PC and not just the beta.
Yes, that's right. Activision flew me out, provided travel and access to Bungie's studio in Seattle, where I got to play for about 8 hours.
And what did you get to play?
So I played Strike, I played a bunch of Crucible games, I played a bunch of open world stuff on Nessus, and the first few missions of the campaign.
Okay, so like not the whole game, but a pretty hefty chunk.
A pretty hefty chunk. It's also worth noting that the machines that they had set up for us at Bungie were pretty good.
Beefy.
Yeah, they had 4K monitors, they had 1080 Ti's, and they had i7 chips running at 4.2 gigahertz. So the footage that you're about to see is probably about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty much as nice as it's possible it's going to look. Obviously, that's after us processing the video, so you can up-res it in your brain a little bit if you like that, but that's pretty much as good as the game is going to look. But I don't know, the minimums are okay. I think it'll look pretty good on basically anybody's PC.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I mean, how was it?
Yeah, it was great. It's legit. Destiny 2 is a PC game, and by that I don't mean that it's technically now out on PC. I mean that it feels like the PC is its natural home, like it should always have been on our platform. And I think it's undoubtedly the best place to play it. You can call us biased, but I really think it's the case.
I'll say PC just down in the corner of that. But...
Yeah. And there are a bunch of reasons for this. I mean, look and feel is obviously something that Bungie have been famous for a long time now. And it's basically the only thing that everyone agrees that the original really nailed. Because obviously the original was, by many measures, not great. But look and feel, always really good about. And obviously any game that sells itself on its look is going to shine on PC. But the difference really is profound, especially on a rig like the one that they had at Bungie.
Okay.
So a few examples that really stuck out for me. There's a potholing section in the Utopia story mission where you go crawling through a bunch of tunnels. That really shows off the game's lighting effects and shadow details. The Pyramidion on Io, which is where the Strike that I played was set, it's just an astonishing place in terms of its environmental design. It's just sort of dripping with sci-fi menace and otherworldliness. It's like these big sort of parallel structures that create this completely unique hall. I've never really been anywhere like it in a game. And Nessus is probably the prettiest of Destiny's 4 planets, which is Destiny 2's 4 planets, which explains why they wanted us to capture it. There's rivers of white Vex fluid running alongside fields of red grass under turquoise skyboxes. Yeah, it's elaborate. It's very No Man's Sky-ish, and I cranked up the field of view on that to sort of really take in more of the vista, which again is something that you can't do on console. Yeah,
I mean, I remember when I've seen it played on console. My flatmates have been playing it. I'd sneak a view, a look every now and then. It looked really, really nice. Obviously, it was running at 30, and it was just in 1080p. It was on a nice massive screen, obviously, but it was certainly as far as I'm concerned, an experience I haven't really had when I've been playing games for a year or so. I got a really nice PC about a year ago, and now my games are at 60. My games are at the highest resolution I can run them at, and yeah, seeing it in that must be almost like playing a different game, right?
Yeah, it really was transformative.
So we won't need that level of machine though, the kind of machine that they had.
Yeah, that's right. So I spoke with the guys who were making the PC version, and they said that including more modest rigs in all of that experience was really, really important to them. So there's a bunch of settings you can tune, obviously, which all had to be added in for the PC version, and they're more detailed than most I've seen on a PC game. You can turn down shadow detail, depth of field, ambient occlusion, all that stuff. And Bungie say it'll still look pretty good on lower specs, while at the same time taking advantage of the whales who have built themselves a really good rig. Like if you want to run an SLI, you can do that. If you want to run a 63:9 aspect ratio because you've got 3 monitors or whatever linked together, you can do that. So support should be really good.
Yeah, no, I mean it is always worth looking up, even if you don't have a rig like that. It's worth looking up what FPS games look like across 3 monitors. It's a whole different experience. It really is quite entertaining. Of course, we will have some kind of port review thing, and we're not sure exactly when we're going to get free access to code and that sort of thing, but we'll bring you as fast as we can, you know, a look at how it runs on like a 980 and a 970 and the AMD equivalents as well. So hopefully, it seems like it's going to run pretty well. I mean, the beta seemed to run well on basically anything.
The beta ran well in the office when we streamed it, and and it ran very well for me at home. Where I have a 980 and an i5. Yeah,
sure. So
it's all right.
Shouldn't be too bad. Now, of course, you played a little bit of PvP. PvP's, I mean, it's going to be different on PC because you've got a whole different control scheme.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, again, it was also a lot better. So I really enjoy Destiny PvP. I played a lot of it on PS4, and I hadn't realised how much friction there was when I was doing that between like what I wanted to happen in the game and what I wanted to happen in my head.
Yeah.
But when mouse input blows a lot of that friction away.
Yeah, and they have made some changes, particularly to the movement model, right?
Yeah,
to make it feel a bit better when you're playing with mouse.
They've adjusted all sorts of things like turn speed and reticle positioning to make sure that with mouse input it all works well, and like blowing away all those cobwebs. I didn't realize how many of them there were, but just they're gone now, and it's so much smoother and more intuitive. You're not waiting like half a second for your crosshair to catch up to your thumbstick or anything like that. You can change stick sensitivity on console, but that just means basically you're choosing between twitching a shotgun around for close quarters combat or dragging it around for sniping. With a mouse, obviously, you can have both, and that makes the game pacier and more exciting, and yet none of that excitement feels cheap in the same way that I think it does in COD, where it's achieved by like quick times to kill and quick respawns and things. Which kind of makes the gameplay feel mindless and random, in my opinion. But I guess COD still has some skill in that, it comes to movement and map knowledge, but Destiny has that as well as skillful gunplay. Yeah. And it doesn't take that quite as far as Counter-Strike. So it strikes this really good balance between different aspects of skill, and it has this really good pace. So this is a Bungie game. Bungie, who did more than anyone else to establish the console shooter.
Yeah, for sure. COD on console was a thing, and it was, people were interested in playing it, but Halo was really the thing that blew that whole thing up, and you could feel when you were playing Halo on PC that there were differences in how it played versus Half-Life and stuff of the day that were very PC focused, but you think this works anyway? Yeah.
So this is a Bungie shooter, which is best on PC, which is quite a statement to make. Yeah. And everyone knows by now, of course, the difference that 60 frames per second makes, especially in PvP.
Particularly in PvP, where people are going to be going a lot more than 60 if they get their way as well, like all the way up to it is uncapped. So
it's uncapped.
Get your 144 hertz monitor out and go to town, you lucky people. So I mean, it sounds like it's a decent port as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bungie would say that it's more than a port. Bungie's PC team wanted to emphasize that it's a parallel version of the game, built for PC from the ground up, and it's legit. It's I played a lot of Destiny 2 on console already, and I'm going to switch. And
okay. So now, before you went, you were saying to me that you didn't think you were going to.
I think it'd be I was impressed with the beta.
Worth the time to, because there's quite a lot of time investment to then get up another 2 or 3 characters.
So you can call us biased, but as I mentioned earlier, but I am as wedded to the console version as it's possible to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, I've already got a lot of time invested in it. I've got a character up to over 300. I put 600 hours into the original on console, which means I unlocked all of the veterans emblems and things of that nature, and yet I'm still going to switch.
And there you have it. Pretty damn good port. We will have more info tomorrow, right?
Yes. So I want to say these are just our impressions of the PC version.
Kind of the basic stats that we want you to know.
Yeah, it's not our final review of the game. That's coming tomorrow. So if you haven't decided whether or not you want to get Destiny 2 yet, come back then and we'll try to answer that question for you. But if you're going to get it, this video is just to say you want to get it. You want to get it on PC.
Yeah, you should get it on PC. Even if you're playing on console, maybe think about switching if you have a decent PC, because it seems to be the place to play it. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll have much more Destiny 2 content as we go through this week, particularly with the release happening tomorrow, and of course the raid is the next week, and then there's the prestige mode after that, and then at some point we'll be getting towards the first DLC, which is meant to be this year.
Oh, it will be this year. Yeah. It's slated for December.
Okay, there you go. So much more to come from us. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit like. If you want to see more, do subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.